What should you do if your business has received a debt collection letter? My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm a business law and estate planning attorney with offices in Edina, Minnesota and New York City. And today we're going to look at what happens when your business starts receiving letters and phone calls and emails from a debt collector. So the first thing we've got to get out of the way is that it's different for debt collectors when they're dealing with a consumer debt that is under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA, and when they're dealing with a business. So if your business has received a debt collection notice or a debt collection demand, you're going to find out that these collectors are going to be a lot more aggressive than they would be if it was your personal debt, because there aren't as many restrictions on them when it's a business debt versus a consumer debt. So we're going to give you a 3-step plan today of what you're going to do if you start receiving these notices. But first, let's look at how these things happen. So in a case I recently talked with a client over, they had bought some merchandise through a third party, and the third party had essentially given them net 90-day terms for payment. And the client thought everything was going to be fine. However, some of the products were coming from China, they were coming from overseas and other places, and they weren't arriving in time. So they weren't even arriving within the 90-day window. Now, the middleman did not care that the products had been delayed because they had signed the contract and they wanted their money. So even though the products hadn't come and my client didn't have the inventory to sell yet, they began to get very aggressive contact from a debt collection agency. It started with phone calls, it went to emails, it popped up with letters in the mail as well, and it's much more aggressive than my client had ever dealt with in his personal life. And he was concerned, because he wasn't sure why were they getting this aggressive and what should he do next. It's not that uncommon if you're running a business that a situation like this could happen, especially in the retail industry where you may have inventory that's being floated on net 30, 60, or 90-day terms. Obviously, the longer you can get for your terms, the better for you and your business, so you make sure you have enough inventory in hand to sell and be able to pay for the inventory. But in this case, the client came to me and said, what am I going to do? And so what we did is we reviewed a 3-step plan for him to make sure that he knew what to do. First thing, do not ignore the letter. A lot of people just prefer to ignore debt collectors. You get those unknown numbers on your cell phone. In this case, he's getting emails, he's getting letters in the mail. He figures, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this. I'll pay them when the inventory comes in and I can sell it. That's not the way you want to handle a debt collector in this case. You want to make sure that you're not ignoring the letter. Read the letter, find out what's in there, find out where they are in the process. Is this just an angry demand because they know that you didn't personally guarantee the debt and the business is the only one who can pay it? You're not on the line personally. Those debt collectors know that they may not get anything out of this, so they're going to be very aggressive. But you want to figure out where they are in the process. Is this the first letter? Is it the 5th letter? Has it been moved on to a law firm who's about to start a lawsuit? So please, whatever you do, don't ignore the letters. At least open them up. At least read them. Read the emails. If there's voicemails, listen to them so you know what they're saying about you. Step 2, communicate with them only in writing. So in this case, my client had actually tried calling them back once and somehow ended up in a shouting match with the person on the other line. So someone from the debt collector's office was yelling, "You have to pay this right now." And my client got intimidated. He's not used to being dealt with that. He does retail sales and he's used to treating his customers in a respectful manner and was not ready for this yelling. So my advice, step number 2, always deal with them in writing so that you have a record of what was said by them and what was said by you so that it's clear. And the third thing you should do is consider negotiating the debt. So again, if we're not ignoring the letter and we're communicating with them, third thing we want to do is see if we can negotiate the debt. Maybe explain to them that that inventory has not arrived yet. So paying under the net 90 days doesn't make sense. See if you can get an extension or make a partial payment, however you want to do it. But it's better to at least negotiate with them than just put your head in the sand and ignore them. So that was the 3-step game plan that I gave to my client, and is probably a good starting point for you if you've been receiving these debt collection notices. However, that next step is likely the step that's coming from my client, and that's going to be a call to my office because the debt collector has gotten too aggressive, they won't deal with them, and now we have to bring in an attorney to help defend you and protect your business. And if that's the case, The importance of that, of doing everything in writing, should be clear to you, because now you can hand over all those writings to your attorney, who can look at them and see what's been going on. And if a lawsuit is filed, you now have a file to hand over to say, here's what we did, here's what was claimed, so that if the debt collector tries to say that they promised to pay me, you can say, I didn't promise to pay you. I said, here are the options, here's what I'd like to settle for example. Whatever you were negotiating doesn't become unclear because it's a he said, she said between you and the debt collector. So if your business is getting debt collection notices, you're getting debt collection letters, and you're not sure where to go, let's set up a legal strategy session. You can go to my website, andrewmayers.com. There's a red legal strategy session button on the main page. You'll be taken to my personal calendar. We can set up a free 15 or 20 minute phone call called a legal strategy session to see where you are and what's been going on with your business and the debt collector, and work with this 3-step plan and give you some options for going forward, and see if we can get you moving forward with or without an attorney, but making sure we're protecting your business. If you found this video to be insightful, I'd love it if you can hit the like button. You can subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I look forward to seeing you on our next video.